The Great Man is back on NTA Oshogo. Do you want to know the secrets of true and lasting success? Do you have a dream to join the ranks of the super successful people? The achievers of our time are ready through the Great Mind on NTA Oshogo to reveal to you the secrets of their success in their different vocations. The Great Mind is a program that can help you to formulate the real philosophy of success through the life stories and experiences of the great men and women we'll be meeting on the program. Join me, Bola Olayode, on the program on NTA Oshogo every Saturday.
Destiny can never be changed at all. My destiny.
It is another edition of the program, The Great Mind. That program that reveals the secrets to the true and lasting success. I'm Bola Olayode, the regular hostess of the program. On this episode of the program, our gist centers on Honorable Adeogun, a one-time member of the Committee on Justice in the National Assembly. He was the representative of Ife Federal Constituency, then in the National Assembly. It is fine to continue his representation of his constituency. Honorable Adeogun was born about 60 years ago to late Mrs. Adeogun near Ijaola of Onelare Compound and late Pa Isaac Oyewole Adeogun of Ogboro ruling house Olodo Compound in Ile-Ife. The childhood of Prince Adeogun was very rough. He lost his father before he was 5 years old, and his mother, being a petty trader, had difficulty in training the 3 children left for her by her dead husband. This, however, made his uncle to take up the responsibility of training him and his siblings. Prince Adeogun started his elementary education at St. John's Primary School in Ile-Ife between 1952 and 1958. He later proceeded to Oluorodo High School in Ile-Ife. He couldn't complete his tertiary education in the school as he was moved to Ifeolu Grammar School, Oshogo, by his uncle. He eventually obtained his school certificate from Ifeolu Grammar School in 1968.
I started life, I won't say too rough. If it is too rough, it's a result of the fact that I lost my father before I was 5 years old. And my development became the business of a large family. Having said that, I want to also mention that my uncle, Barrister Oladipupo, took the responsibility of my education and training. So shortly after the death of my father, I led a life I was staying with him.
Alhaji Rayi Meribade grew up with Prince Adeogun.
Àjọ bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní kékeré, àjọ bí wa pọ̀ ni, àjọ bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní kékeré. Wọ́n bá la fi jura wa lọ. Àjọ lọ sí school ni, láti primary school lọ sí modern school. Ọmọ tó ní ìfaradà tó dẹ̀ jẹ́ ọmọ gidi tó ṣe gbọ́kàn tó ṣe fọkàn tẹ̀. Tó pé ní àsìkò gbà yẹn ọ̀dọ̀ ìyá ẹ̀gbọ́n ẹ̀ ló gbé dàgbà. Tó pé bàbá ti kú láti 1950. So ìyá òde sì ní Ifẹ̀ ọ̀dọ̀ ẹ̀gbọ́n ìyá ẹ̀gbọ́n ẹ̀ ló gbé dàgbà. Tó fi jẹ́ pé ìyá dẹ̀rẹ̀ ìyá náà fọ́ lójú. So òun ló ń tọ́jú ẹ̀, ó máa jẹun ni, ó máa mu ni, ó máa ṣe ni, òun náà ló ń tọ́jú ìyá. Tí èmi bá gun kẹ̀kẹ́, àwa mẹ́rin ni. Tí èmi bá gun kẹ̀kẹ́, màá gbé àwọn méjì tó kù sórí, àwọn mẹ́ta tó kù sórí kẹ̀kẹ́. So aláti lọ dúró sílé dìtì torí pé tí ó bá parí iléeṣẹ́ ilé kò ráyè jáde láàárọ̀. Ọ̀rẹ́ tó ń ti skul dé báyìí ọgọ́ tó gbọ́dọ̀ kiri handkerchief kó tó wá jẹun. So ó suffer a lot ní kékeré yẹn.
He sat for his advanced level papers in literature, economics, and government in 1972. and passed all the papers with flying color. Before he furthered his education to university level, he has secured an appointment as a clerical officer and rose to the position of executive officer accounts in 1976. In 1977, Prince Adeogun Adeogun got admission into the University of Ibadan to read political science and graduated with second-class upper in 1980. Due to his unquenchable thirst for knowledge, Prince Adeogun Adeogun proceeded on his master's degree in political science. He did not stop at that. He enrolled for a degree in law in 1985 and graduated in 1988. He was called into bar in 1989.
It's like your first class. I was among the 5 grade A students when I left school. But as a result of what I would describe as inability of my people to afford secondary education immediately I left school in 1958. I still had to go through modern school. I went to Ife Anglican Modern School between 1960 and 1962. Thereafter, I have an in-law, is Joseph. He's now still in Port Harcourt. His surname is Chingwa. He's married to an aunt. So immediately I left the modern school, I also went to live with him. By that time I went to live with him. My uncle, Chivoladipo, was already in England. He was one of the first set of people who thought the better way of having education is to leave Nigerian school. And he went to England to read law. So at that time, he was battling with survival. We never knew. Because going to England at that time was like you are going to heaven. People think that everything is well with people who went outside Nigeria. So I was living with my in-law. And it was through this assistance I went through finally Ifeoluwa Qualified Grammar School in Osogbo, where I passed my West Advent School certificate. I also want to mention that I was lucky to come in grade 2. I used grade 1 just one or two indices. Having done that, I got a job in 1969. I left school in 1968. In 1969, I got a job.
Where, sir?
Prime Minister of Information. And I rose to the position of an executive of accounts before I left on study without pay to go further in my education. So I went to the University of Ibadan to read political science between 1977 and 1980. And I had second-class upper, had my national service. I took an interview with Nigerian Customs Service. In those days, it was through the Public Service Commission, and I was engaged as a superior of customs in 1981 after the national service. In between 1981 and 1989, I still felt that I still lacked certain things in terms of education. So I enrolled for my master. I took study without pay. I went for my master at the University of Ibadan. And between 1983 and 1984, finished, still dissatisfied. I would have probably gone to PhD. I already enrolled for PhD at the University of Lagos. But it was unfortunate, it was at that period the military took over. I think it was Buhari in 1983. And he had some problems with the lecturers. And one of the things he did was to ask them to pack out of the campus. And I felt that the liberal area which I thought of was the university. Everybody is free, you can express your views and all that. And I discovered that they're not even free. So I abandoned the PhD program. And in 1985, I enrolled for a law degree, University of Ibadan. So between 1985 and 1988, I finished my LLB. And in 1989, I went to the Nigerian Law School in Lagos, and I was called to bar in December 1989. Outside there, I've gone through many training while I was in customs and privately. And I know that education is a continuous process. And I'm still a student.
Prince Adeogun Adeogun had joined the Nigerian Customs Service since 1981 and rose to the rank of Comptroller of Customs in the year 2004. He was deployed to One and Area 1 port as area controller before he voluntarily retired in pursuance of his ambition in politics. He has this reason for joining politics.
I believe politics is the issue of service. And I felt that in order to serve the interests of your people, we need people who will provide representation, people who have gone through the gamut of life, people who have experience about life, who can appreciate the problems of our society. And I also felt that I have, to some extent, I have served myself. And I felt also that there is the need, whatever is left for me to live, I want to serve my people. And I'm also prepared to do this because in third world, particularly in Africa and in Nigeria, politics is the hub of everything. In any developed society, you don't need to be involved in politics to get electricity, to get water, to get good schools, to get good roads. But here, if you are not involved, nobody speaks for you. And it depends also on your clout and the influence you can muster within the political environment to enable you get certain things for the people. And I felt that I have a responsibility that for many years, I won't say I have served myself, and I have served my people in the little way I can do it. But I also feel that there is the need to get involved in the politics of our area. Because Epstein defined politics as allocation of value. That is, when you look for power, after an election, what next is how do you share all the good things of life, which people describe as dividend of democracy. And instead you have people who are committed to their people. They can sacrifice the interests of their people. And I felt, having gone through the gamut of life, having attained certain heights in life, I got to the peak of my career as a public servant. And I therefore felt what is left for me is absolute service for my people. Those are the things that drafted me into politics.
In 2007, he got the mandate of his people to represent them in the National Assembly.
I never had gone for any elective office before then. But what happened was that in the last dispensation, I was appointed a member of SUPEC, which I probably served for about 6 months before I resigned. And all along I've been sympathetic because, as I said before, I said politics is hub of everything. Politics determines who takes water and who does not take water. Politics determines who has good schools, which should be so. Individuals will be the basis of development. In a developed society, you don't need to have representation or know anybody before you be lucky to have water, to have good roads. But I discovered here, and not to what you are saying now. Except you have people to push things into your constituency, to your environment, to your community. Nobody speaks on your behalf. It is an entirely different ball game from the service I'm coming from. want to say I've had a very good experience as a public servant for about 30-something years. And now in active politicking, I saw the difference. There is hierarchy, there is order in the public service. It is not easy for somebody junior to you to insult you, to talk to you anyhow. But that's not so in politics. A lot of people don't appreciate age, your social standing, and all that. People can afford to insult you. People who are far away from you. And these are the tidbits of politicking, at least in this part of the world. And by the time you go through this baking, you discover that you know what is primary, is service. You will not be derailed by those side things that could discourage you to get involved in politics.
Before his election into the House of Reps in Abuja, he has been impacting positively on the lives of the people of his constituency.
Well over 15, 17 years ago, I've been involved in giving bursary to students at the primary school, secondary school, and tertiary level. And I've continued doing that since I came into the parliament. I've never seen the difference between being in parliament and what I used to be before. I was not inspired by my intention to come to politics to do some of the things I've been doing. And I said before, some of the things we are doing as members of the parliament to our constituents would not have arisen if government at all levels have been alert to their responsibilities. These are my people. If they are suffering, we have to suffer together. If they are enjoying, we have to enjoy together. And since I'm stimulated by the need for service, I have no other thing to do but to do my utmost to ameliorate the problems of my constituency and to ensure that we are writing a very good story about ourselves. Because after today, there's tomorrow.
Chief Michael Adesoji Adebowale is the Baale of Ogboroolodo compound. He has this comment on Honorable Adeogun Adeogun.
Ó wà ní kékeré, ó jẹ́ ọmọ tó jẹ́ pé ó máa ń gbọ́ràn, tó dẹ̀ ń ṣe dáadáa, ọmọlúwàbí ni. Ó jẹ́ ọmọ ìdílé onígbàgbọ́ tí ọjọ́ ń ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ dáadáa bákan náà ní ṣọ́ọ̀ṣì ńgbà náà, tó dẹ̀ ń ṣe dáadáa títí lórí di pé bọ́ sí ọ̀dọ̀ ẹgbẹ́ tó yẹ pé tó jẹ́ lọ́yà tó yẹ pé òun ló tún tẹ̀lé tó tún tọ́jú òun náà tó fi di pé òun náà di amòfin ọmọlúwàbí pátápátá láti pèlè sí ayé ọmọ rẹ pátápátá ni.
This is what the people of the constituency of Honorable Adeogun Adeogun have to say about him.
He's an obedient boy from youth, very sincere and useful, truthful and useful. So he doesn't know anything by or anything. He's very straightforward, and that is why we all love him.
He's known to be a very good person. In fact, he's a dear and loving father because he carries everybody along. In fact, he can do with the last penny in his purse with anybody. He's a very generous man, very kind. In fact, he shares whatever been other people's condition, particularly this award. In fact, Prince Adeogun Adeogun is known to be a good servant.
This is the analysis of Honorable Adeogun Adeogun about the job of legislators.
I discovered that democracy can be defined as presence of a legislature. When there's no legislature, there's no democracy. And that for a democracy to survive in any environment, there's the need to have an independent legislature. And that when you look at the role of the legislature from a distance, if you are not involved, probably cannot appreciate the magnitude of the pillar the legislature plays in a democratic system. Beyond legislation, to ensure stability in any society, the legislature has a role not to hit the system. I therefore discovered that it is quite interesting to also note that the three arms of government, the absence of legislature, can be described any other thing, but not democracy. Can be dictatorship, can be autocratic, and all that. And therefore, a legislature in any system occupies a very prominent role, stabilizing the society, protecting the interests of the citizenry, because you are representing the populace, an environment, and you become the speaker of the environment. Anything they want has to come through their representation. And therefore, you see an enlarged situation of the legislature. And it is only when I came in that I come to appreciate the role of the legislature, apart from the theoretical knowledge of what a legislature has to do and all that. I discovered the role, for instance. If you look at the Nigerian Constitution, Section 80 of the Constitution talks about the power of appropriation. And when you look at subsection of this Section 80 of the Constitution, it talks about it is only the National Assembly that can prescribe the manner by which public funds can be expended. That is a very prominent role, which means the legislature is the custodian of the purse, and therefore not a couple of this purse could be spent without the approval of the National Assembly. So you find out that legislation occupies a very, very prominent position in the democratic system.
Honorable Adeogun was a member of the House Committees on Justice and Health, respectively, and also a sub-chairman of NAFDAC while he was in the House of Representatives.
A member of Justice, probably that is informed by the fact that I'm a lawyer.
He is a man with absolute trust on the Supreme Being to undo his life for him.
I want to say here that first, only a dead person has no ambition.
Honorable Adeogun is now vying to continue his representation of Ife Federal Constituency in the National Assembly. He has this piece of advice.
My advice to politicians, that politics should not be do or die affair. And there are people who have no pedigree. Those who have no antecedent are the people who are making trouble in politics. Politicians must have alternatives. People who are jobless, who have no professional training, who have no job at all, don't need to go to university before you have a job.
The great micro join the numerous well-wishers of Honorable Adeogun to wish him outstanding success in all his endeavors. That has brought us to the end of this week's edition of the Great Mind program. Next week is another date when I bring you another great mind of our time. God willing. Till then, stay blessed.
Nothing can change it. Nothing can tamper with my destiny. Good destiny I choose from God.